This week we begin from the West. The leader of mutinous soldiers who ousted Niger's democratically elected president now says that they will return the country to civilian rule within 3 years. Military coups across the world have resulted in two outcomes. First is the withdrawal of the junta from executive power. This means the junta doesn't participate or even interfere in post-coup elections. Second is electoral rigging by the junta in favor of its own candidate. This scenario establishes a regime in which coup leaders entrench themselves in executive power. So why does the promise of a transition always seem like a pipe dream in this region? Let's find out in this next report.
They often come to power after gauging what people are agitating for. But what are the outcomes of military coups and why do they survive in sub-Saharan Africa? Military coups across the world have resulted in two outcomes. First is the withdrawal of the junta from executive power. This means the junta does not participate or interfere in post-coup elections. While it is necessary for the transition to democracy, it isn't sufficient in itself. Case in point, the 2010 Nigerian coup, this scenario played out then. The people of Niger voted for a new civilian president that the outgoing head of the military junta said should serve as an example of democracy to the whole of Africa. This did not last. More than a decade later, Niger found itself in the same conundrum. The leader of mutinous soldiers who ousted Niger's democratically elected president promised to return the country to civilian rule within 3 years. General Abdur Rahman Chiani gave no details on the plan.
Within this framework, the stakeholders who will be invited will set about formulating concrete proposals within 30 days, leading to 1. Define the fundamental principles that should govern our transition. Second, define the priority of the transition, which should last no longer than a few months.
In most coups that have happened between 1989 and 2017, in half of all cases, juntas withdrew from executive power in the coup's aftermath. However, with the military's withdrawal from power, the transition period to civilian rule was highly volatile. Particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, counter-coup attempts by a rival faction within the armed forces intending to remain in power occurred rather frequently. This was the case most recently in Burkina Faso in 2015. If a coup occurs in response to threats to the country's territorial integrity, to the preservation of public order, or to the military's material or reputational benefits, the junta will have the backing of the military at large. If a coup occurs for reasons outside of these, the junta either won't seek power or will face resistance from within the military and withdraw. Where civil society groups manage to rally the population to demand a return to democratic civilian rule, juntas depart from power. The most prominent example of this was in Egypt after the 2011 coup. In Sudan, Mali, Burkina Faso and Chad, militaries overthrew their governments because of threats to their country's territorial integrity or to the military's material benefits. Generally, military coups bode ill for democratic processes. In instances where juntas withdraw from power, democracies don't emerge. When juntas rig post-coup elections, they become entrenched in power in the medium to long term. Bureau Report, WION World is One.